Start winning at the races with Daily Racing Form's new mobile pass performances, featuring exclusive buyer speed figures and expert analysis and selections. Go to DRF.com/best and get the power of DRF in the palm of your hand. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, September the 4th. It's race number 11 at Churchill Downs, the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. Let's take a look at this field. These fillies have been waiting a long time to go 1 1/8, and what a matchup. Gamine for Bob Baffert, even money off scintillating victories in the Test and the Acorn, and Swiss Skydiver, who just blew him out of the water last time out in the Alabama. Remember to download your free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with us. 2 big names, big supporting cast. You can't ask for anything more, Mike.
No, it's a great running of the Kentucky Oaks here, Dan, and I think all eyes are sort of on Gamine right now because she looks like a potential superstar. The only thing she has left to do here is to prove that she can get a distance of ground.
Fascinating time form US pace projector we have for you to analyze. Red bar situation, I get it. Pace should be solid. Pace could very well be fast. But our boys at Time Form US, they've got Swiss Skydiver out there on the early lead. Aragona and Milkowski think they're going to make the front. Gamine sitting second. I have a feeling it might be the other way around.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they weren't trying to make the lead with Gamine in here. We'll just see what happens. So far, they've just let her go to the lead in all of her races, Dan. And, there's a chance that her connections are concerned about how far she wants to go. But I'd be very, very surprised if they took her speed away from her in here.
Swiss Skydiver ascended to the very top of this division with her victory in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. She accomplished that race in gate-to-wire fashion. She then pulled off graded stakes races at Oaklawn, at Santa Anita, an excellent second against the boys, finishing ahead of several Kentucky Derby entrants in the Bluegrass, and then this race, the Alabama, 1.25 miles, hallowed Saratoga. She turns this race into a procession. The horses she beat are not of the caliber of Gamine and Speech and Donna Veloce. They're still pretty good, and this is just a breeze.
Yeah, just won this race in commanding fashion, sat a perfect trip in this race, always looked like she was going to win, and she just aired on this field in the stretch, Dan. I guess the concern going into the Alabama was, would she get the 1 1/4? She had no problem with the 1 1/4. And now she'll cut back to 9 furlongs from a perfect inside draw. She's going to be a handful in here, even if Gamine shows up and runs her typical race, I think.
Tempers Rising, the number 2, is still eligible for a Now Winners of 2 Life race. But with her running style, if you believe the pace projector and the red bar scenario, she has a puncher's chance from the back of the pack. She ran some decent races at the fairgrounds earlier this year, and I think Dallas Stewart used this race at Ellis Park as merely a prep. It was a 1.5 turn mile. She's on the outside in 4th. She has a very brief look at it, and she's going to edge up into 2nd in the shadow of the wire. I think she gains fitness from this race. I don't mind her stretching out to 1 1/8. I do wonder if she's in a little bit too tough.
Yeah, that was my feeling too. I actually like this filly. I think she does have some talent, and the distance is no problem for her. Just against the field that she's facing on Friday, Dan, it just feels like she's in a little bit too tough.
Before Swiss Skydiver and Gamine exploded onto the scene, the 3, Donna Veloce, was the leading light of this division. Considering her inexperienced, for her to run 2nd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, 2nd in the Starlet, in only her 2nd and 3rd lifetime start, pretty impressive. Her one and only race this year came back in March. Let's watch the Grade 3 Santa Isabel right now. She handles Speech very, very easily. She worked out a nice tactical trip. She finishes the race off. After this race, she had to go to the farm. She missed about a month of training, and now she's going to have to win the Kentucky Oaks, going 1 1/8 off a 6-month layoff. No easy task, but she's talented.
I mean, it's a real shame that she wasn't able to get a campaign together because there's a chance she's as talented as anybody in here, Dan. Her races are legitimately good. The last time we saw her, she ran a giant race, and she did that, by the way, after not breaking very well at all in the Santa Isabel. I mean, that was a really, really good performance. I don't see how she's going to be able to beat this field going 9 furlongs off of this layoff, but she is a really good horse.
Let's watch Speech's last race, the Grade 1 Ashland Stakes, and She ran really well in here, considering that Venetian Harbor, the runner-up, is a very fast horse, and Venetian Harbor got an easy early lead, and it's a short stretch at Keeneland that usually benefits front runners, but Speech was able to stay close. She puts Venetian Harbor away, and she goes on to win with a career-best 101 Beyer speed figure. The issue that some fans are going to have is she's already been beaten by Swiss Skydiver, and although she was placed first over Gamine 3 starts back, she couldn't get by that filly in the stretch that day. Maybe this is a new Speech, however. That was a big effort in the Ashland.
I mean, I certainly, if you like her in here, that's the argument you're making, right? That she has improved since Donna Veloce handled her, Gamine handled her, Swiss Skydiver handled her. She did improve in the Ashland last time. If I was going to nitpick her, Dan, I would just say the Ashland. I think it's pretty clear by now that Venetian Harbor, as good as she is, she does not want to go that far, and she put up no fight at all in the stretch of the Ashland. So while Speech won it easily, I'm not sure that I'm totally convinced by her just yet. She's a contender in here. If you like her, you're probably getting a fair price. I'm going to go with some other horses, though.
There's no denying Gamine's speed. There's no denying Gamine's ability. She's run 4 times. She's finished first all 4 times, of course, disqualified from 1 race at Oaklawn. She's beaten Speech in her career. Her last 2 races, blowout performances. Let's watch the test. She was able to get to the front, and she's facing Venetian Harbor in here. We just saw Venetian Harbor finish second, beaten 3 by Speech. She's beaten 7 by Gamine. Now, if you look at the Timeform U.S. past performances, and I would urge everyone to do so, you'll notice that Gamine's 2 big victories, her last 2 races, have come when she's been able to control blue color-coded pace fractions, slow paces. The pace is going to be faster, and she's going to have to go 1 mile and 1/8. And those are the 2 main questions, not her ability.
Oh, no, you can't question her ability at all. Maybe the paces of the Acorn of the test weren't blazing paces. It doesn't, I don't think it really matters. When you watch her run, you can just tell she's good. And I would even go back to that Oaklawn race, Dan. I mean, it's the only time they went 2 turns, and I know it was close. And it certainly looked like Speech had a chance to get her, but just considering it was her second career start, first time around 2 turns, and just considering how fast that race came back, I think it's pretty clear that Gamine is a super talented horse. I mean, based on her last 2 figures, she could even regress a couple of lengths and still beat Swiss Skydiver and Speech, even if they run their last couple of races. I don't know. To me, she's way the horse to beat.
Fun fact, the number 6 Beyer Nest defeated Swiss Skydiver in her second lifetime start. So she likes Churchill Downs. She's beaten one of the favorites in this race. The issue is, while Swiss Skydiver has really moved forward since that race, Beyer Ness in 3 starts, at least from a Beyer standpoint, has not taken the necessary step forward. Last time out in the Indiana Oaks, she ran okay, and maybe she's rounding back into form in her 3rd start of the form cycle, but she will need to finally take that move forward.
Yeah, and they're asking her to do it in a really tough spot. I liked her first 2 career starts, actually. I thought she ran well in those races, but based on what she's done since then, she can't beat this field.
She dares the devil, won the Indiana Oaks last time out in solid fashion. Maybe not the strongest field, but there was a good pace going on. There was a loose leader. She collared that horse. She went on to win solid enough 86 Beyer list, and she's won 3 out of her last 4 starts. The problem is, the race she lost during that span, she was walloped by Swiss Skydiver.
Yeah, he's got a lot of ground to make up. Brad Cox has done a good job actually finding the right races for her to run in. She has improved slightly in her last 2. She's going to have to improve a lot to get close to the favorites in this race.
Let's watch Hopeful Growth's performance in the Monmouth Oaks last time out. Certainly turned the tables on Project Whiskey, who handled her in the Delaware Oaks. She's in the green silks on the outside. She worked out a nice inside-out trip under Antonio Gallardo in this race, and it was nice to see her get back on the beam, because I'm not sure what happened to Delaware 2 starts back. This 90 Beyer, nice improvement for her.
Yeah, she ran well in this race, and you're right. It was a nice bounce back effort too, because her Delaware Oaks was not good, but she rebounded in a big way last time. Outside of that Delaware Oaks, she's ran well in all of her starts. Dan, she's got forward to go, but boy, once again, she's found a really tough Kentucky Oaks here.
Connections have done a really nice job with Dream Marie. She was entered for a $20,000 tag at one point last year, and now she's turned into a multiple graded placed performer. She was no match, however, for Hopeful Growth in the Monmouth Oaks. And while Hopeful Growth went outside, Dream Marie was able to save ground. She followed Hopeful Growth on the turn, shot up the inside, and the finish just wasn't there. It's a tough spot for Dream Marie. They're trying to get some more black type, maybe some grade 1 black type.
Yeah, didn't run that well last time, and obviously stepping up into Kentucky Oaks like this. She'll be a huge price if you like her, but it feels like she's way up against it here.
Top pick time in the grade 1 Kentucky Oaks. It's hard to be against the two favorites in this race, and I'm really not way against them. I think Speech is improving. I think she's going to get an interesting trip. I wonder if Swiss Skydiver and Gamine hook up at some point a little bit early. And maybe they'll just draw away from the rest of this field and it'll be a match race from the 3/8 pole to the wire. But if they take some of the starch out of each other, perhaps Speech is the one to directly benefit. I want her at a little bit of a price. You're taking Swiss Skydiver over Gamine. You know she'll get the distance.
I know she'll get the distance, and I do think she'll get a decent enough trip in here. I think you could be right, Dan, that she might hook up with Gamine, and she could pay the price for that. Because I'm not way against Gamine. I think she's a super, super talented horse. I just also feel like, and I don't know how they're actually going to bet it, but I sort of felt like Gamine might be odds on in this race. I think she's going to take a lot of money, and that could make Swiss Skydiver actually a playable price.
1-5-3-4 for Mike, 4-5-1-8 for me. It's the grade 1 Kentucky Oaks, and it's a sensational edition of this race. Approximate post time of race 12 at Churchill on Friday, 5:45 Eastern. Good luck.